welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. We do have two other people that are hopefully going to come in while we chat, so welcome them when they get here. They'll all be like, oh guys, why are you looking at me? And just so you guys are aware, we're actually recording our session today for training purposes only because we have some new admissions counselors. So you are not in it, it's just Susanna and I, so don't even worry about that. I just wanted to let you know if you look back, you're like, there's a camera on, what's going on here? So anyways, welcome to campus. My name is Lauren Tarno. I'm an admissions counselor here. I work with students from southern Indiana. So basically everybody who's south of Indianapolis is going to be mine. So I graduated from Indiana Wesleyan about 3 years ago. I studied psychology and addictions counseling while I was here and absolutely loved it. It was wonderful. And I don't just have my experience, I also have two brothers. One just graduated from Indiana Wesleyan this April, and the other one is going into his junior year. So we're like, it's a family affair, we're all here together, which has been a lot of fun. So that is an introduction to me.
Yeah, and my name is Susanna Spencer. I'm also an admissions counselor here. I work with students in northern Indiana, so whether you're northwest or northeast, I will be your admissions counselor if you're from that area, and just we work with you throughout the entire admissions process, and they're here to answer your questions. I also graduated from Indiana Wesleyan in 2011. My brother also went here. He was a year below me, so we were very close, and we both really enjoyed our time here. I studied writing, leadership, and public relations.
She's an overachiever.
Yeah, I had to do it all. So really loved what I studied here, and Lauren and I will talk a little bit more about who we are as a campus and a little bit of our stories, and we're going to want to get to know you guys as well. So if we can just start with introductions, we would love students if you would just say a few things for us. Not yet. It should be good. We would love to know your name, who you brought with you today, where you're from, and your favorite summer activity. Can you do that? Yeah?
Want to
Can you start right up front?
I'm Shelby.
Shelby.
I brought my mom with me.
What's mom's name?
Gail.
Gail. Nice to meet you.
And we're from Michigan town, just about an hour away from here.
Okay.
And I like doing photography in the summer.
That's awesome. You can capture some beautiful things in the summer.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing, Shelby. All right, let's go right here.
I'm Caroline. I brought my mom with me, and
What's mom's name? Sorry. What is it?
Lanny.
Lanny. Nice to meet you.
And we're from Terre Haute, Indiana.
All right.
And Jamison.
It makes sense, you're with softball.
Yeah, make the connection.
Awesome.
Very good. Thank you for sharing.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Erica. This is my dad, Eric, and
Nice.
we're from Avon, Indiana.
Okay.
And my favorite summer activity is playing different sports.
Okay. And
And
photography?
photography.
Okay. So when you were born, did you name her after you?
I did.
Okay, see? My mom's name is Lara, and people are always, and my name's Lauren. So they're always like, were you thinking when you did that? Was that on purpose? It wasn't. She had no idea it sounded the same until people started pointing it out, which I think is funny.
We even have the same initials because I'm an Emerson and
Oh,
she's an
okay.
Elizabeth. So
Oh, that's awesome. And what's your last name then?
Shagley.
Okay, so EES.
Yes.
All right.
Very good.
That's awesome. Very cool.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for sharing.
It's nice to meet you guys. So I want to go ahead and get started. We're going to do something a little different than maybe what you've experienced before. We really want to walk you through who we are as an institution and then also get to know you guys a little bit better. And hopefully you walk away with more information about yourself and Indiana Wesleyan that you can just mull over as you go. So I want to get started. Maybe. There we go.
There we go.
I did that one. Okay. So I want to first go ahead and open with this. You guys should have your folders. If you want to pop those out, I'm going to walk through them with you real quick. I think most of you came from lunch. Everybody, did you, Erica, come from? Okay, cool. So everybody just did that. So you already used your lunch tickets. Good job. You did the first thing you needed to do. You should also have some coupons in there for Macon. Yeah, now I can actually see you guys.
Thank you.
You guys should have some coupons in there. So one's from Macon Coffee Company, which is amazing. I highly recommend getting something from there. And then the other is for our bookstore. So if you want to use those today, you are welcome to do so. If you want to wait and use them later, they do not expire, so you can use them whenever. But you have that in there. Also, I'll point out, you probably have already turned it in, but there's a profile sheet that has all of your information on it. If you've already turned that in, awesome. If you haven't, take a look at it, make sure that we have your correct information, and then go ahead and give it to Debbie or whoever's at the front desk when you're heading out. You also, there's a few other things in there. Your schedule, that should be tailored to you. It should have your name on the top of it and walk you through what you're doing today. If there's anything on there or anything missing that you'd like to do today, there's another sheet of paper that has this phone number on it. Feel free as you go maybe through your tour to text that number and say, hey, I actually really would like to do this also. And then we might be able to get that set up. We do have some, because it's summertime, there's some faculty that are gone, so we might not be able to today. But our goal is to get you connected with everybody that you would like to be connected with while you're here. And then at the end of the day, you want to make sure you pick up your free t-shirts. If you want to stand up for me, Caroline. This is what it looks like. Except for there's two other colors as well. There's that blue, lovely color. There's also kind of a reddish pink color that I really like, and a gray one. So you can have one of those on your way out. So make sure you do that. There's a sheet in there that kind of tells us how you felt today, how we did. If we could do anything better, we'd love for you to fill that out and give it to us later so that we're constantly refining what we're doing. There's more information in there as well that we're going to kind of walk through. When you're done, there's some more stuff up here as well. So you have like general education requirements in there. We also have like our AP credits that we accept. There's a sheet up here for that. Education abroad, if you're interested in studying abroad, there's information for that. A couple of things for scholarships and such. So take a look at this when you're on your way out and get any information you'd like. And Susanna and I will kind of hang out and talk to you if you have any questions afterwards as well.
All right, great. Well, Lauren is going to continue and talk a little bit about who we are as a campus. Do you guys have campus tours today on your schedules? Yes? Mm-hmm. Or have you already done those maybe?
I think most of them are after this.
After this? So you're going to gain a lot of information, facts about Indiana Wesleyan, statistics, those kinds of things on your tour. So what we're really going to spend time doing today is giving examples of our experiences and sharing the passions that IW has for its students. So you really get to know a little bit more about who we are as a community. And on the campus tour, you'll gain a lot of those facts and numbers about us as well. While Lauren is talking about who we are a little bit and giving some overview, I want you students to be thinking about what your passions are. Part of the purpose of this workshop is to get you thinking about those things, to get you thinking about what you love to do. So we will share our examples. We'll share what we're passionate about to give an example, but we would love to have you guys share in a few minutes. So be thinking about that. Basically, if you weren't on Netflix or napping, and you could do anything at all, what would it be? Yeah.
And it might be Netflix or napping, so.
But think about those things, you know, what you love to do. Some of you may have already mentioned them, but we will ask you that in just a few minutes.
Along that same thread, I really want to express kind of what Indiana Wesleyan's passion is as an institution. So this kind of understanding of who are we have children in the back. They might, make some noise. But we are a place that wants to foster and grow you. I'll talk about our mission statement in a minute, but really all of those fun statistics, which you're going to get a lot of on your tour, but there's a few things that I know you guys are probably wanting to hear. So for example, we have a 14-to-1 student-faculty ratio, which really means that you get a chance to connect with your professors on a personal level if you want to. I know for me that meant that when I had a question and I went to my professors after class, they knew who I was. I wasn't just a face in the crowd, which I thought was wonderful. We have about 3,000 students on our residential undergraduate campus, so it's a decent-sized school. Our adult side has like just over 10,000 students, so you're part of a massive Indiana Wesleyan University community, and our degrees are very recognized all over the world. We have students that live everywhere, which is really exciting. I want to walk you through this, and we're really going to focus a lot on this as we talk to you. This is our mission statement, which at a lot of schools you see written on a card maybe occasionally, but nobody really talks about. So we want to do that. We want to talk about what we stand for. You guys can read it with me, but it basically says Indiana Wesleyan University is a Christ-centered academic community committed to changing the world by developing students in character, scholarship, and leadership. There's a few really important things in here. First of which, we are a Christ-centered institution, and you're going to see that everywhere you go. Whether it's in chapel, we have that 3 times a week, or if it's praying with your friends in your residence hall, you're going to feel it there too. But we really do emphasize that all across the board, including athletics. And then we have this idea of being a community. You know, we are, like I mentioned, a massive community. There's a lot of us here, and we want you to feel a part of that community and not like you're alone. I think that happens a lot of times when you come to college, you don't know anybody, and you're like, ooh, I'm isolated. But we want you to know that you are a part of a community. So we do things like New Student Orientation Week, which is where all of our freshman students or transfer students or anybody who is coming to campus for the first time gets a chance to get to know each other. Instead of just being that, you know, lone island coming to campus not knowing anybody. And then we're going to really pound out these 3 words. So character, scholarship, and leadership. These are things that we want you guys to walk away from Indiana Wesleyan having within you. So we're going to break those down over the course of this workshop, and we want you to be thinking about it. We want you to be interactive with us as we walk you through them. So I want to, get started on that first question.
Yeah. What is your passion? So I'll start, and Lauren will close
That
us.
sounds good.
Yeah, so a couple things that I'm passionate about. First one is travel. I absolutely love getting to travel outside of the country. I love domestic travel too, but I love more than that, visiting different cultures and seeing how God made each culture different and yet in His own image. To me, that's just remarkable, and it's just an adventure. I love it, and I would travel somewhere new every other week if I could do that for the rest of my life. I would, and if I had the money to do it. My second passion, I would say, is the written word. We were chatting a little bit about this earlier, but I studied writing here, and I absolutely love taking a written piece of work and polishing it up for writers who want to get books published, or students who are doing their dissertations, and I've done a few of those, and I've helped authors get their books published, and it's such an awesome feeling to be able to help in that process. But I also love creating the written word too. I love language, and so I get to use that here in the admissions office, and I also have my own freelance business outside of Indiana Wesleyan, and I'm just so fulfilled and overjoyed at those things, and so that's what makes me happy. What about you guys? We would love to hear it, even if it's just something brief. We would love to have you share. So we will just, Erica, let's start in the back with you.
Snake from the back. So you get to wait a minute, Shelby.
Give you a minute to think about it.
Well, I
Thoughts?
find photography interesting,
Yeah.
and I enjoy fitness and nutrition.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. See, that wasn't too hard. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, we'll snake our way back up here with Caroline.
I really like sports, and I like working with children, so
Okay.
I coached a couple like volleyball teams for softball, and I did a volleyball team.
Okay.
Just really like working with kids.
That's awesome.
What age ranges? Anything? Any ranges?
I did like 8 and 10.
Okay. And you really enjoyed that age?
Mhm.
Bless you. Very good. All right.
All right,
Wonderful.
Shelby.
And Shelby, any thoughts?
Kind of like she said about photography.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'll mention that.
And I like psychology because I like learning how the brain works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for me, I would say, and my parents would say this too, from the moment I was teeny tiny with my curls bopping all over the house, I loved people. I loved to make people smile, and I loved to know who people were. And that's developed throughout my life. So I came to college and I declared psychology as a major, and I thought, okay, this is perfect. Like, I love the brain. I love human beings and how we tick and how we work. And I realized after I got started that I really wanted to see people change and grow. So I added addictions counseling because it was the one counseling major we had available at the time. And I thought, I don't really have a connection with addiction in my own life. I don't really have a lot of family that have a connection with addiction. But I'm going to do this and I'm going to see what happens. And it was the most amazing thing in the world. God really prepared me for a lot of different things. I've met people since then who I have much more compassion for than I ever would have to begin with. So I would say, in a nutshell, my passion is watching people go from surviving in their lives to truly thriving in their lives. That's something that just makes me, I even get goosebumps when I talk about it. It's so exciting to me to watch people grow and not be stagnant in their lives. And it's really cool. My husband's actually studying to be a counselor. So someday we want to open a clinic and help people just work through their own issues. So that's my passion. And it grew. When I was sitting, not necessarily in this exact spot because we've remodeled, but when I was here in admissions, somebody asked me that question. And I was like, I don't know, people? I don't know. But then, over the last several years of my life, it's really grown and developed. So thank you for asking. And that'll happen for you guys too. It constantly changes. Do you want to touch this?
Yeah, so we have a few questions that we're going to ask you students, but we want to talk about this idea of purpose and passion. And so Pastor T.D. Jake says, if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passions, for your passions can lead you right into your purpose. And we really believe that this is true. A lot of times, and we'll talk about this, but a lot of times the world might tell us, oh, well, you need to get a job that is going to help you make money more than you need to just do what you want to do and what you love to do. And yeah, money, of course, is an important tool that helps us survive and provide for our basic needs. Of course it is. But we still truly believe that God has given us passions and unique gifts and skills that He can use through us for the kingdom of God, to impact the world. And we want to help you discover what your passions are so you can love what you do and serve Christ through that. Because why not? Like, who wouldn't want to love what they do, right? So we believe this, and we hope that your passions can help inform what you might want to study and then do later on in life.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think in discovering what your passions are, so you guys just told us, some things that you're passionate about, those oftentimes inform what you decide to go to college for. So I have a couple of questions for you. Let's see if I can get it to track me. My first two are incredibly common. The last one, not so much. The first one is probably something you've been asked a million times. It's about your major. So what do you guys want to major in? I'll start here with Caroline. What do you want to major in when you come to school?
I'm going to take natural science classes because I want to be an optometrist.
Okay, that is awesome. All right, awesome. Good deal. Shelby?
I'm actually not sure.
Okay.
That's entirely okay.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. That too.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, Erica?
I'm not exactly sure, but I've been thinking about maybe exercise science.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's a big question. I'm sure, like I said, you guys have been asked that before. You've thought about it, mulled it over, maybe aren't 100% sure, which is completely fine and totally normal. But that's a big one. So my second question is similar but very different. Like, you guys might actually have an answer to this one a little bit more, but have you guys been asked what you want your career to be? Maybe?
Has anyone asked you that?
What do you think, Shelby?
Not really.
It's very similar, right? Very similar to major. Okay, I don't know. How about you, Erica?
I'm not sure.
Okay, yep. Optometry.
And that's okay. We
Yeah.
get that a lot. Sometimes you don't know.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you do. That's
We-
entirely okay.
We actually have the majority of our students that come in don't know, which
Yeah,
is
that's
so
true.
cool because we have a lot of services that Suzanne is going to talk about that really help you discover what you're going to be good at. It's awesome, instead of like coming in and not knowing and then changing 5 times. If you come in and do this program, it'll help you not have to change so many times so that you do know, like, oh, this is what I'm good at. This is what God's put on my heart. Let's put those together and make it into an actual viable vocation. So my next question, which, like I said, this is the big one that you've probably not been asked as many times. It's this one here. What has God called you to do with your life? Have you guys been asked that question before? Just a
Show of
nod
hands. Have you
or
been
show of
asked?
hand.
No?
This is
Erica?
the one.
Not exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I ask this question, it's the one that most people are like, no, I've never really been asked that before. But this is so important, because I'm sure in your lives, parents, you may have changed your career path at least once. Maybe twice, maybe 3 times. My dad changed his career path when I was 16. Totally threw my family for a loop, but it was a wonderful growing experience. This, though, stayed the same. Even though he went from IT to film, which is a huge difference, this was the same. He wanted to help people. He wanted to help people tell their stories. That's what's so cool about this. So I want you guys to take this with you as you walk through the rest of your day. And this is a big one I want you to mull over, because you're going to have to wrestle with this probably throughout your lives. And I love to be the first one to say, okay, let's think about this, because this is really important for our students. And this is really what Indiana Wesleyan is passionate about, is helping students figure out exactly what it is that God has called you to do. And Suzanne is going to talk about the options for students to really figure out what this is.
Yeah. So we have an office here on campus. It's called our Life Calling and Integrative Learning Office. It's twofold. We help students with career options for when you graduate, right? But when you're here, we're going to help you also to start to try to answer this question. What has God called me to do? How can I practically get an idea of what the answer to this question might be? So we have a program, and it's called our Life Calling program, through our pre-declared major, that helps students figure out, okay, how am I unique? How did God create me as a unique individual? What gifts do I have? What are my passions? What am I good at? What's my personality type? My strengths? I could go on and on. You get the idea, right? Because you are different, Caroline, than Shelby, and then Erica. Are there going to be some similarities? Of course, but there are certain unique differences in the way that God made each and every one of you. Okay? And we think it's so important to point out the fact that everybody has different strengths. So when I was a student, I actually came in pre-declared. I knew that I loved writing, but I didn't know what to major in, because growing up, I had gotten this message from the world saying, you have to make money. You have to make money, and if you're a writer, you're not going to make money. And I believed that. So I came in, I said, okay, I'm going to be pre-declared so I can do this pre-declared track and try to figure out what I need to major in, because I'm going to this expensive college, college is expensive, I need to figure out what I'm doing here. So I met with a life coach, and we have certified life coaches here in our office. This service is free to students, and they will meet with you anytime throughout your 4 years just to talk and help you figure out what career path you want to take. So I met with a life coach, and he said, well, you love writing. Why aren't you studying writing? And I proceeded to tell him. He said, well, then what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I think I want to try maybe a few of these different majors. So I tried classes in 4 different majors. And you want to guess how I felt? I wasn't happy. I was frustrated. I was sad. I thought God didn't have a calling for me. I thought I was wasting my time. I was frustrated with God. And my life coach finally prompted me and said, Susanna, you love the written word. Try a writing class, please. And I said, okay, fine. I will try a writing class, but I'm going to be broke. He said, don't you think that God can provide for you? If he gave you such a passion for the written word, don't you think that he wants you to use that for his kingdom? Do you not believe he can provide for you? And I said, well, if I'm being honest, I really don't have faith in that, but I would like to have faith in that. So I went to this writing class, and I fell in love with it. I was just at home. I was able to let my nerd out, and it was fantastic. It was wonderful. And I said, okay, fine. I feel at home. This is what I'm going to study. And then eventually I discovered leadership and public relations and all these different interests that I had. And I felt like, okay, wow, I took one step of obedience to God, and he opened up all these other possibilities for me. And I'm going to have faith that he will provide for me. And now I have my own freelance business. And I get to help people every day, and it's awesome. So it might not always look the way you think, but I assure you, if you give those passions to God, he will provide for you. And we really believe that, and that's part of why we want to help you figure out what you're passionate about. Because we want you to love what you do if you want to serve the Lord. But the other side is our career side. So we're going to help students with all the practical things. We're going to help you with resume building. We're going to make sure that you know how to interview well. If you are interested in grad school, we're going to help you with grad school applications. And of course, we're going to help you with internships. Many of you might have a required internship for your major, so whether you want to do that on campus or off campus, we're going to help you find an internship too. And then again, of course, for a career, when you graduate, right, you want to be prepared, and we're going to help you find different job opportunities and get you connected with employers as well. So this office is so important, and it's an awesome resource. So I encourage you, if you have additional questions, feel free to ask us, but wherever you go, whichever colleges you go to visit, ask them if they have a resource like that, because it's very important, right? We don't want to be hired when we graduate. Yeah. So I wanted to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's an awesome office. Every friend I've had that has gone through that office is incredibly satisfied with their college experience, which I think is saying a lot for what they do with their students and help them really discover themselves and what they're good at and how to make that viable work for when they're done. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want to walk you guys through those questions, or not the questions, but those words from our mission statement. The first of which is character. So if you guys could close your eyes for me, imagine in your mind a person of character. And when you have that person in your head, you can open your eyes and look at me. Okay, so you all have thought of someone of character, right? Throw out a few characteristics. I'll start. So for me, a person of character has integrity. That is a huge thing. They're very, they have a lot of integrity. Okay, now your guys' turn.
Thoughts?
Erica?
Service oriented.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a really good one. Parents, you feel free to throw some out as well.
Honesty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Others?
Compassion, is that what you said? Absolutely.
Consistent.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a really good word. How about you, Shelby?
Any ideas?
Kind.
Humble,
Oh
skillful.
yeah, absolutely.
Dependable.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Very dependable. So all the words that you guys just threw out, they all point back to one person, and that's Jesus, which is exactly who we're supposed to, strive to be like in our life. And that's why we are unapologetically Christ-centered. That is why as an institution, we want to help you build that character. We want to be the iron that sharpens you so that you can be iron in the world, which I think is a powerful thing. We do that a lot of different ways. We do have chapel on campus 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All 3,000 of our students go into the chapel auditorium, which you're going to see very soon. You'll see that you'll all fit in there. It's huge. And we worship the Lord together, we pray together, and we hear a message either about someone's journey and how they've impacted the world, or about the Bible. There's so many different things that you'll learn in that space. So that's one way that we do it. One way that was very, very, very good for me was in my counseling classes. For me, I believe that true healing comes from the Lord. And so having really amazing philosophical conversations with my professors about what it means to be healed and what it means to be a Christian counselor, a Christian who is a counselor, or a counselor, what are the differences, in those 3 things? That was really important for me. So we did devotions would oftentimes open my classes, prayer would oftentimes open my classes, and that meant a lot for me and what I was studying. I know in our athletics we have this philosophy of I am third, which basically means God first, others second, and then me. And that's powerful because you learn to serve, you learn to be that humble servant leader, which is so important as you go into the working world. I saw this a lot in my professors. I'll share a story in a little bit when I talk about leadership, which is the 3rd word, about what that looked like with my professors. But this also, I saw men and women of character that I really looked up to a lot, and I still know to this day, even though I've been graduated for a little while, they still will reach out to me and be like, Lauren, how are you doing? How is life? How's your job? How's your marriage? How are things going? And it's really beautiful that they'll do that. They truly care about their students. Even professors I've had 5 years ago who I could not imagine still knowing who I am, but they do, which I think is really, really, truly beautiful.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Lauren. So we want to develop students to have strong character that reflects Christ. We also want students to have scholarship. Any idea what this means? Other than money? What we mean here, when we say that we want to develop students in scholarship through an academic community, we're talking about higher learning. And how can you be the best student that you can be while you're here on our campus? Now, you might already have some ideas of what resources you need to thrive, just from your time being a student already, okay? And while you're in college, we want those resources to be available to you as well. So when I got to school, one of the reasons I chose Indiana Wesleyan was because of our smaller class sizes. I am an introvert, and I needed one-on-one time with my professors. I needed that relationship. I knew that I needed to be known. And so this really became a reality for me for the very first time on this campus. My sophomore year, I had just declared writing as a major and added public relations on as a minor. So I was in a communications class, my very first class in the communications division. And Dr. King was my professor, and it was media and society. It was the hardest class I took throughout my entire 4 years here. Hardest class still. But when we got into the class, he said, all right, we're going to be reading this novel, and throughout the semester, we're going to have 4 exams. Not the final exam, just 4 exams throughout the semester. They're all going to be essay-based, okay? Based on the novel. I thought, okay, this is great. I'm a writer. I love to read. I'm going to ace this class. I can't wait. Do you think that's what happened? That's not what happened. Well, I did better, but the very first exam that we took, guys, I got it back and I had an F on it. An F. I got every question wrong. First F I've received in my entire life. Oh my word, I was devastated. There were probably 20 students in that class, and I thought, oh my word, what if I'm the only one to get an F? And I'm a writing major. And I remember walking out of that classroom, and I was headed back to my dorm, and tears were just falling out my face. I mean, it was dramatic. And I thought, okay, I can go back to my room and be sad, or I can go back and I can talk to the professor, because this is a small class, and I know that he knows who I am. So I had to take responsibility of the fact that I earned that F. I didn't know how I earned it, but somehow I earned the F. So I went back. I said, oh my word, I don't know what I did. Can you help me? And he said, yes, I was waiting for you to come back. I'm so glad you did. He sat with me for an hour and went through every question and opened that novel and said, this is what I was looking for. These are the examples I was hoping you would point out. This is what I wanted you to get from the text. And I thought, oh, I was entirely off. I don't know what I was thinking. And then the next exam, you guys, I got a 100%. And I was so excited. And it was because I took that step and used the resource that was going to help me be the best student I could be. So part of it is on the university to have these resources, but the other part is on us as students to take advantage of them. So we can glorify God and be the best we can be in every single class, and even outside of class. So that's what we mean when we want to develop students through scholarship. So, and now Lauren's going to talk about how we want to develop students through leadership as well.
Mm-hmm. Which is very similar. I think there's a huge theme here. Professors are awesome. But yeah, leadership's a huge deal. So I'm sure at some point in your life you've probably been under bad leadership, at least once. That's not fun. That's like the worst. I hate being under bad leadership because you can't be a good servant when you're under bad leadership. We want to develop amazing leaders. What if every single student that came through the doors of Indiana Wesleyan University and walked out with a diploma was an amazing leader? Like incredible, like state-of-the-art leader, walked into their work environment and blew everyone away. We have a lot of students. 3,000 are here currently, and we've had lots of alumni and lots of people in our graduate school. What if every single one of them was an amazing leader? that's our goal. We really do want our students to walk out of here with amazing leadership skills. Excuse me. Part of that is that servanthood, like I mentioned. Being a servant leader, a humble leader, somebody who leads not from the front big and loud and boastful, but as an equal. I think that's important. I saw this play out. I got to do, it's called Urban Encounters. It's a class in our behavioral sciences where they take students to different cities and we do service projects and read a book and learn literally how to serve. And I got to go with 2 professors who were amazing, but they are really decorated. You know, they have all the letters after their names and before their names, and all the emails have that on there so that you know, man, this person's been to school. They're smart, you know, they're really intelligent people, but I watched them completely drop all of their degrees, all of their titles, and be people, serving people. It was amazing. You know, we were there for just a weekend, and I learned so much about leadership that I didn't know. You know, it wasn't about being amazing and the top and everybody knowing it, but it was about being the person that could lead silently and lead with influence. We really want that for our students. This is actually a picture of our residential staff, so those that work within our residence hall. So the residential assistants, that's an RA, they live on your floor, foster community, and then a lot of other people as well. They all did a big service project. This is a picture of either before or after that happened, where they went out into the community and served. Some of them raked leaves for the elderly that couldn't get out and do it themselves. Others mowed lawns. Other people, I'm sure, helped fold laundry. Like, they just served. They served the people around them. That's really what we're all about. We're all about this understanding of loving others and being the hands and feet of Jesus, which is really important. And that helps people as they grow so much. You know, when you go into a job, having some form of servanthood in your past is a big deal, because you know how to be that kind of a person that gets down on their knees and scrubs the floor. You know, you're not above that. You are there to help everybody, and that's our purpose. We really want to help foster that in our students so that you go into the world and have that mindset, which is really, truly important. And I'm really, really grateful to be part of an institution that has this as part of their mission statement, and everything that goes with it, and really everything that it means.
Yeah, so this is how we want to develop our students, really in these 3 key pillars: character, scholarship, leadership. And so going forward, you know, when you're here and even when you leave, we want you to be continually developing in that area, and even now, you know, while you're considering other schools. So for this past hour, you know, we've been talking about who we are as an institution, not just numbers and facts, but who we really are, what our heartbeat is. And we've tried to get to know you a little bit and have you reflect on, what do I like to do? What are my passions? How has God created me? But it's not really that important, or it doesn't really mean anything if we don't actually put that into action, right? So we have this quote here that we really love in this office, and it's from Nelson Mandela, and he says that action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming, but vision and action together can change the world. And your shirt says the world is waiting, right? The world is waiting for all of you, regardless of where you go to school. We want you to be prepared to be like Jesus when you leave this place, or any school. And so I gave you 3 of you cards. So these cards, we really want them just to be something you take with you to remind you, you know, something that resonated with you today, or a next step that you think is for you in this college search process, in this next phase of your journey. You know, if something resonated with you, please write it down. If something came to mind that you think you need to do, like visiting another campus, or meeting with a coach, meeting with a professor, whatever that is, write that down and take it with you just to remind you, hey, this is who I am and this is who I want to be. This is where I want to go. You know, you are so much more to us than just a number on the stat sheet. You are an individual, and so we care about where you go from here. We honestly do. So we thought we'd give you some kind of call to action, some tangible way to say, hey, this is what I learned, and maybe this is what really resonated with me today. So take that with you and think about that as you continue visiting schools as well.
And as you think about next steps, I want to talk about the next steps, the practical side of things. You know, we've talked about who we are, but this is how you can become one of us. You have this sheet in your folder. It's basically everything from the moment that you apply until you're an enrolled student. Well, I guess it's missing a few things. But we have an application online. It's completely free, and it opens for you between your junior and senior year. So this summer, for some of you, it's ready to go. So you go ahead and apply, and then have your high school transcripts as well as your test scores sent in. And then admissions counselors like Susanna and myself, whoever is yours, would sit down, go through that information, and then figure out if you're at the proper scores, you're accepted. If you're not quite there, which is a 2.6 GPA, 18 ACT, or 960 SAT. If you're below any of those, that's not a huge problem. Basically, it's just this section then. Recommendation and supplemental academic information forms, which is basically an essay. They're online, so we would just send you that information. You'd get all of that into us, and then we would submit you for review. So that's a slightly longer process, but still not horrible. We try to do it fairly. We do admission on a rolling basis, so pretty much every 2 weeks we're reviewing students and getting them through the whole cycle. Once you are accepted, you'll get an invite for Schools App, which is a Facebook group of all of our incoming freshman students. Lots of roommates are found on there, lots of friendships are started. So it's a really great thing to get connected with your incoming freshman class. Once you are to the point where maybe you have your top 2 picks, is my personal advice. You want to go through the whole entire process. So that means paying the deposit, getting your housing stuff taken care of, getting up until the point you're enrolling, and then make that final decision. The reason I say that, so we have a $200 deposit that opens your housing and your registration, your classes. The sooner you get that deposit in, the better housing options you have. So you're priority housing if you get that in sooner. But it's refundable through May 1st. So May 1st of your senior summer, so end of senior year, that May. It's refundable through that time, so the May before you start school. You can get it back, and then what was I going with there?
You can get it refunded
Yes,
if you choose another school.
if you choose to go elsewhere.
So
The other thing I'll point out up here is our FAFSA. So that opens in October each year, so the October before you are starting in the fall. You would want to go ahead and get that in. Really, it's a great thing. It helps us to understand your financial situation better, and it opens a lot of opportunities, both with loans and scholarships and grants. So that's a really important thing to do. Also, Susanna's about to talk about some of our academic scholarships, but I'll point out you can actually resubmit new test scores and new GPA for us to reevaluate your scholarship up until July 1st of your senior summer. So you have a while to get that in and make sure you get the best possible scholarship that you can.
So definitely we recommend getting the FAFSA in. This allows us to create a financial aid package for you, so you can have something in front of you that says, hey, this is how much IWU is going to cost for me. These are the scholarships and grants that I'm receiving, and these are the loans I'm eligible for. So will IWU work for me or not? And if not, maybe there are outside scholarships and additional scholarships I can apply for to make IWU work. Okay? So we, as admissions counselors, work with you and talk through your FAFSA with you to make sure it's understandable and to see if there are other opportunities. So we definitely recommend submitting the FAFSA and getting it to us so you have an understanding of what IWU would look like for you cost-wise. But when all students are accepted, automatically they'll receive an academic scholarship from us. So this sheet is in your folder, so you'll be able to take it home with you today. But our academic awards are, they range from $4,000 a year to $14,000 a year. This is based on your GPA and test scores. Okay, we have what we call a scholarship calculator on our website. So you could go on today if you're interested in knowing what your academic award might be with your current GPA, if you've taken the ACT or SAT, or if you haven't, just input a few scores in there and see what happens, see what it says, based on what your GPA is now and any score you're interested in. So depending on the combination, one of these scholarship awards will be given to you. Does that make sense? And as Lauren was mentioning, throughout your senior year, you can continue to retest. If your scores go up, let us know, because that could bump you up to the next scholarship level. When I was a senior in high school, I'm from Ohio, so they were really ACT based, and so I took the ACT 4 times. It was awful, I hated every minute of it, but the 4th time, my score went up enough that it actually bumped me up to the next scholarship level. So in the long run, it was absolutely worth it. Now, ACT does not recommend we super score, so we don't do that, but we do super score the SAT. Does everybody kind of know what super score is? We say that you take the SAT 2 or 3 times. We're going to look at all of your scores from all 3 of those tests, and we're going to take the highest from each subject to give you the overall highest composite. So it's very beneficial, because if you say the first 2 times you didn't do so hot in math, but the 3rd time you did a lot better, we're going to take that math score because it's the highest and take it over here with your highest English and your other scores and combine it so you get the highest SAT. So I like to recommend that because it's a great benefit, but it's entirely up to you. We take both ACT and SAT.
That's just for the SAT?
Yes.
Just SAT from super
And that's
score.
called super score?
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you for bearing with us. I think you guys do have your tours next, but Susanna and I are going to hang out here up front. And if you guys have any questions, yeah,
Absolutely.
there's lots of documents up here if you guys want to look at them. We do have like an AP sheet. So this is all the AP test scores that we'll take and what like semester hours or credit hours they bring in. So definitely come up here and take whatever you want from up here. Like I said, there's that. There's our
Engagement.
our scholarship, or I'm sorry, our education abroad or global engagement office, some scholarship things. So absolutely come look at this as well.
Any questions though?
So if she applies for a scholarship and she gets it, who do we contact that place that, I mean, does that just, do we just tell them to send the information to you, or does she send it to you, or?
Like an outside scholarship?
Yeah.
Yep, so you can let us know. What will need to happen is you'll just need to have the scholarship organization send it to our financial aid office. It just needs to get to financial aid and they will add it right onto your package. Great
And you'll
question.
touch base with your admissions counselor, because we do a lot of that grunt work for you, make sure that you know exactly where that does get sent, like the address and everything too.
Yeah.
And you guys should each have a card in your folder that either has your admissions counselor information on it, or it might have the admissions office information. We actually are hiring some new admissions counselors right now. So you can reach out to those numbers and we will definitely talk to you guys and make sure that you have any questions answered that you have.
Great. Any other questions? All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us and for being willing to share a little bit about who you are. It's been a pleasure having you here. We still care about you, even though you are going to go elsewhere from here. But please reach back out to us and let us know later if you have any questions at all.